Which engine will define our roads for the next 50 years? The thunder of petrol, the silent surge of electric, or the hybrid's compromise? Today we drive into the heart of that question with three American cars that tell the story: the Ford Mustang, the Tesla Model 3, and the Ford Escape Hybrid. In this video we will walk the full road, the emotional pull and mechanical romance of petrol power, the efficiency and politics of electric vehicles, and the pragmatic middle ground of hybrids. We'll look under the hood, crunch ownership numbers, examine environmental impact and infrastructure, and most importantly ask where the future of American driving is really heading. Chapter 1: Petrol Heart, Sound, and Heritage. Petrol is romance. It's the roar before the roar, the smell of warm metal, the visible pulse of torque. For many Americans, the Mustang is the shorthand for that feeling. Ford Mustang US muscle, modern tech. The latest Mustang still champions internal combustion. The 5.0-liter V8 in the performance Mustang delivers roughly 480 horsepower in its modern form, a visceral, linear power delivery that keeps the muscle car dream alive. Drive a Mustang, and you don't just move, you announce your presence. But that announcement comes at a price: fuel, maintenance, emissions, and increasingly strict regulations. Petrol cars remain efficient for long-distance travel on highways where refueling is fast and infrastructure is ubiquitous. They're also deeply embedded in the U.S. manufacturing and cultural identity. But fuel economy and tailpipe emissions are the Achilles heel, and they're the reason industry and policy are pushing alternatives. Chapter 2: Electric. Silence, efficiency, and scale. Electric vehicles (EVs) flip the script. They replace pistons with packs, noise with torque, and tailpipes with wires. Tesla, a U.S. automaker, is the poster child. The Model 3 shows what modern electric driving feels like. Instant torque, long range, and minimal mechanical fuss. The Model 3 in its long-range forms now offers EPA range figures that routinely top 300 miles, and performance variants sprint like sports cars while remaining remarkably efficient. EV adoption in the United States has accelerated in recent years. Sales climbed into the millions globally, and U.S. markets saw electric car sales grow strongly in the early 2020s, capturing a double-digit slice of new car sales. That growth pressures automakers and policymakers to scale charging and manufacturing. But being electric is only half the story. Drivers need reliable charging. The U.S. charging network has expanded rapidly, with public charging ports growing year after year, yet distribution, speed, and access remain uneven between cities and rural America. For daily commuting in cities or suburbs, EVs are almost perfect. For long, cross-country trips, planning changes. Charging stops replace gas stops, and charging speed dictates the rhythm of travel. EVs are also increasingly economical to operate per mile. Electricity usually costs less than gasoline on an energy equivalent basis, and they produce far lower lifetime greenhouse gas emissions than comparable gasoline cars, especially as grids get cleaner. Chapter 3: Hybrid. The middle path. Hybrids are the compromise, part combustion, part electric. They don't eliminate gasoline, but they reduce it, and they require none of the dedicated charging infrastructure of full BEVs. Ford Escape Hybrid. Practical American hybrid. A mainstream U.S. example is the Ford Escape Hybrid. In recent model years, Escape Hybrid variants post combined EPA figures in the low 40s miles per gallon area, excellent for everyday family use and commuting. Hybrids are attractive because they fit existing driver behavior: instant refueling, long range, and better city fuel economy thanks to electric assist. Plug-in hybrids add limited all-electric range, which can cover typical commutes, but they still rely on gasoline for longer trips. For many buyers who aren't ready to commit to a fully electric life, a hybrid gives the best of both worlds: lower fuel bills, fewer range worries, and minimal lifestyle change. Chapter 4: Head-to-head. Cost, emissions, reality. Okay, the knife-edge comparison. Let's break it into three critical buyer questions: money, emissions, and practicality. Cost to run. Your driving cost study shows that fuel or energy is a major part of ownership. Average fuel cost per mile for conventional vehicles sits in the mid-teen cents per mile. EV charging costs vary by region but can be cheaper per mile when charging at home, while hybrids sit in between depending on driving habits. Emissions. Multiple life cycle assessments find battery electrics produce lower total greenhouse gas emissions over their lifetime than gasoline cars, often by a large margin even after accounting for battery manufacturing. That gap widens as the electricity grid adds more renewables. Practicality and infrastructure. Practicality is shaped by charging availability and habits. The U.S. public charging network has expanded dramatically in recent years, but it remains uneven, more dense in cities and interstate corridors than in rural areas, which tilts practical advantage toward petrol and hybrids for some buyers. In short, if you want minimal fuss and emotional drama, petrol still wins. If you want the lowest lifetime emissions and the cheapest running cost, in many cases, EVs lead, provided you have access to charging. If you want a hedge against uncertainty, hybrids are the pragmatic choice today. Chapter 5. Where is the future heading? The future won't have a single answer. It will be a patchwork shaped by technology, policy, and consumer choice. Grid decarbonization makes EVs greener. Charging infrastructure must grow and get faster. Hybrids and plug-ins act as transitional tech. Performance and luxury EVs change expectations. In America, expect diverse roads. Urban areas and fleets will electrify faster, highways will give way to rapid charging corridors, while rural and specialty vehicles, heavy-duty trucks, classic muscle cars, long-range utility rigs will keep combustion relevant for longer. Politics and economics will speed or slow parts of this transition, but the technical trend is clear: greater electrification, smarter hybrids, and cleaner grids. Perspective and call to action. Petrol is culture and performance. Electric is efficiency and a cleaner future. Hybrids are the pragmatic bridge. The choice isn't just technical, it's personal. Which road you take depends on where you live, how you drive, and what you value. If you learned something today, hit like, and if you want more deep dives on cars, tech, and the future of driving, subscribe and ring the bell. Comment below. Which would you choose, the roar of a Mustang, the whisper of an EV, or the middle ground of a hybrid? Tell us why, and we'll feature the best answers in the next episode.